Priya Mataji not here to play the mridanga? You know how to play mridanga? You know how to play mridanga? Should I start or should I wait? Start? Should I start? Like, should I start?
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivarjaka Stotara Satasi Śrīmad His Divine Grace I.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nityai ki, Shri Shri Radha Vallabh ki Jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Sudamayi ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi ki, Nitai Gaur Brahmanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 5, chapter number 20, text number 38, 5.20.38. And the chapter is titled as The Structure of the Universe. The Structure of the Universe. Text number 38. I'll just read out the Sanskrit, okay? Etava loka vinayasho manaha lakshana samsthabhir vichintitha kavabhi satu panchasat koti gunitasya bhugolasya turiya bhago yam loka aloka chala. Please recite after me. Etavan, this much. Loka vinayasa, the place of the different planets. Manaha, with measurements. Lakshana, symptoms. samsthabhi, as well as with different situations. Vichintitha, established by scientific calculations. Kavibhi, by learned scholars. Sa, that. Tu, but. Panchasat koti, 500 million yojanas. Ganitasya, which is measured at. Bhugolasya, of the planetary system known as Bhuloka. Of the planetary systems known as Bhugolaka. Is that what it is? Bhugolaka. Turiya Bhaga, 1/4. I am this. Loka Loka Achala, the mountain known as Loka Loka. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Learned scholars who are free from mistakes, illusions and propensities to cheat have thus described the planetary systems and their particular symptoms, measurements and locations. With great deliberation they have established the truth that the distance between Sumeru and the mountain known as Loka Loka is 1/4 of the diameter of the universe, or in other words 125 million yojanas, which is also equal to 1 billion miles. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given accurate astronomical information about the location of Loka Loka mountain, the movements of the sun globe, and the distance between the sun and the circumference of the universe. However, the technical terms used in the astronomical calculations given by the Jyotir Veda are difficult to translate into English. Therefore, to satisfy the reader, we may include the exact Sanskrit statement given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, which records exact calculations regarding universal affairs. What follows by that is a long Sanskrit copy and paste from Srila Prabhupada from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentaries. And that is for reference, Prabhupada says. Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruhe Nama Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desa Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, at the moment we are talking about the structure of the universe. When I first read this section, I'll be honest that I got a little blank. And when I read this section again, I almost got completely blank because it's quite far out at the moment in terms of the geography of the universe. But what I can say, a little bit about the structure, and then I'll talk about, the research aspect of this. That at the moment we are talking about the Bhumandala, which is the whole, the universe that we live in, the Bhumandala. And the Bhumandala has got 7 dvipas. Dvipas in Hindi means islands. So it has got 7 islands. And in the recent past we have been talking about the middle island, which is the Bhumandala, which is the Jambu Dvipa. So they are different islands. Bhumandala has got 7 different islands, and we've been mainly talking about the Jambu Dvipa, which is one of the islands in the Bhumandala. And then Sukadeva Goswami talks about the other islands. Then in the recent past, he has gone and spoken about each of the verses of each tract of land inside one of the big island. After that, at the particular moment in here, he is talking about there are other land which is outside the 7 islands. And one of them is Loka mountain. Now where exactly is the Loka mountain? Prabhupada explains that it is 125 million or 1 billion miles from the measurement of the sun, because the sun is the point of reference for the measurement between Sumeru and the Mount Loka. So very technical, to be honest. I won't profess that I know about this. And as I said, it was quite overwhelming to see this. So what does it mean actually? Then I started thinking about, if reading was a little overwhelming, I have to speak on this as well, which is a little bit more challenging. So then I stepped kind of, from a helicopter view, what does this all mean? And then it took me back to, at the end of Canto 2, somewhere when I was studying Canto 2, Prabhupada wrote that Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the answer to all questions. And then I started kind of relating to it. My God, this Bhagavatam has got everything. It has got answers to all questions. Bhagavatam talks about, of course, about devotion, about bhakti, no doubt. But Bhagavatam also talks about politics, about sociology. And at the moment we are talking about different aspects of the geography. And it gives exact measurements. Now, so what is interesting, what we can learn, what does it mean to us? How many of us are actually interested that the fact that this Loka mountain is 125 million yojanas from Mount Sumeru. When we come into Krishna consciousness and when we come into bhakti, this kind of information, or at least I can speak for myself, sometimes seems quite like dry, it doesn't stimulate my bhakti more. It definitely is useful, and it's useful information as a reference point to say I can appreciate Bhagavatam, but I kind of look forward towards the section when it's more juicy. Having said that, what we do see today actually, a lot of modern scientists spending billions and billions and trillions of dollars in understanding how the material world works. What rotates, what else rotates, how is the day formed, what is the law of gravitation. All this mammoth amount of money is being spent to understand how things work. But here we have got this beautiful Bhagavatam, which has got all the information on the pages. No one has to actually research, because research means you search after something that has already been searched. So that is actually a futile attempt. Bhagavatam already gives us information that is there, and Prabhupada says according to the learned scholars, not according to just some ordinary peasants, but according to the learned scholars. And in this case, we have got Sukadeva Goswami, Vyasadeva, Narad Muni explaining to us how things actually work, what is positioned where. So what is the issue with the modern scientific approach of trying to understand the structure and the geography of the universe? For them, the study is focused on the matter only, rather than on the spirit. Because at the end of the day, if everything is only matter, then nothing should matter. If everything is only matter, then nothing should matter at the end of the day. Then why bother? There is things other than matter. So for us as sadhakas, as spiritual practitioners, we are focused on both. We are focused on the matter as well as the spirit. Of course, we are more interested in the spirit than in the matter, but we don't deride the matter. We also study it, and it is there for those who are interested to know about it, so that our appreciation towards the Lord increases. Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 that all this that I am explaining to you, my vibhutis, when he lists all that 80 plus vibhutis in chapter 10, that all these vibhutis are nothing but just a spark of my splendor. So what does that tell us? If all this long distance of 125 million yojanas of creation, and there is 4 billion miles of the entire universe, is a spark of his splendor, that means if there is a spark, there must be a flame behind it. And that flame is Krishna. So all these sparks are there to make us appreciate the potency of the Lord, so that we can get more attracted to Him. Because anybody who has got some amount of potency is very attractive. No? Somebody who can sing well, somebody who can dance well, somebody who can play well are very attractive because they are a spark of Krishna's splendor. So how beautiful, how much more beautiful will that personality be who is the source of all the sparks? If the spark is beautiful, then the flame is got to be more beautiful by definition. Yeah. So Bhagavatam, the reason for setting it out like this is so that we can appreciate the beauty of the Lord, the potency of the Lord. And if somebody is interested in matter, go ahead and figure it out, for those who are scientifically stimulated. For example, let's differentiate between this morning only when I was reading Bhagavatam with some of my friends, in a Bhagavatam study group, Prabhupada writes there that Maitreya Muni tells Vidura that the Lord had injected his potency into the motherland. So when you just see that, then it was when Maitreya Muni tells Vidura that the land has been injected with the potency of the Lord, then what is that potency becomes the natural obvious question. Then Prabhupada explains there that potency is the gravitational force that keeps things intact and keeps things down. Otherwise, imagine we are trying to work and we are all flying, kind of haphazard here and there, not knowing where to go. Just sitting here in the Bhagavatam class and all of you are flying. That will be very difficult for us to even interact with each other. So that gravitational force is what keeps things intact. Now when Newton was sitting under the apple tree and the tree fell, his stimuli was, why did the apple fall down? And why did it not go sideways, or why did it not go up, or why did it fall in the first place? It could have detached from the tree and could have stayed there. But why did it fall down? What is that force? And then he came upon this concept of the law of gravitation, which is wonderful. But what Bhagavatam tells us, and it's common sense as well, that the law of gravitation already existed before Newton discovered it, or before Newton coined a terminology to it. The force was already there. So what a spiritualist does, what a transcendentalist does, he is of course interested in why the apple fell down, but more than that, who created the apple? That is a better question. Who created the apple? Where does it fall is fine, but who created the apple? What is that personality? Who is that personality that created the apple? Who created the apple tree? Where did the apple tree come from? Eventually when we walk all our way backwards, then we end up with Krishna. That he not only created the apple or the apple tree or the earth, but created everything that works around it. So our interest is like that. Yep, we understand, we recognize that there is law of gravitation, but we are more interested in what is the source of that potency. And in Bhagavad Gita again, Krishna explains that knowledge constitutes understanding what is matter, what is spirit, and who is the source of both. What is matter, what is spirit, and what is the source of both? That is the understanding of complete knowledge. So Bhagavatam, at the beginning of Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami sets it out to the sages of Naimisharanya that what is Bhagavatam there to give us. Bhagavatam, if somebody was to read this section on its own about the structure of the universe, especially if we leave this kind of sections to the modern scientists, there is a big risk that they could just end up with the wrong conclusion altogether. To say that Bhagavatam, the purpose of Bhagavatam is to set out how the universe is structured. Somebody reading it in isolation. And therefore, although our literatures are books of scholarly, no doubt, they are very scholarly books. They are written very systematically in an order. Everything is just all nicely assembled together. But the Bhagavatam is not to be left for the scholars only. The risk with that will be they will jump to a wrong conclusion. The essence of Bhagavatam is what? Essence of Bhagavatam is to give us bhakti. Pibata Bhagavatam rasa amalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi. So in the beginning of Bhagavatam only Sutta Goswami tells the sages of Naimisharanya. What is this Bhagavatam? It is Nigama kalpa taror galitam phalam Sukha mukhad amrita dravya samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasa amalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So this Bhagavatam is what? It is pibata, it is nigama kalpa taror galitam phalam. So this phalam, the fruit of Bhagavatam, the essence of Bhagavatam is what? It is galitam phalam. Not only phal, not only a fruit, but it is a galitam phalam. Why galitam phalam? Because fruit can be of 3 stages of ripening. One, it can be unripe, one, it can be ripe, and one, it can be fully ripened. Imagine nowadays when we used to eat mango just off the trees. I don't know whether you have that experience, but I do. I come from a village area. So, when the mango is ripe, it gets super ripe. That's called like, almost like a liquid mango. So it's very squishy. You just pinch a hole in the mango and you can literally drink the juice. So we eat mango, true, but we can drink the mango as well. So this Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is Galitam Phalam. It is a fruit that the author is giving to us, Sukadeva Goswami is giving to us, and knowing that the mentality of people in Kali Yuga will be so degraded that if I just give them this fruit, they might say, who's going to take this, because I have to take it home, then I have to wash it, then I have to clean it, then I have to peel it, then I have to cut it, and then I have to eat it. Oh my God, so much work, I don't want it. So knowing that mindset, what Sukadeva Goswami did, he made and waited till the fruit is fully ripened, super ripened, that it has become Galitam Phalam. It has become liquid. And what do we have to do as the takers of Bhagavatam? We don't have to eat this Bhagavatam. We don't have to see this Bhagavatam. We don't have to study this Bhagavatam. What do we have to literally do is Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. We have to drink this Bhagavatam. Because drinking is easy. If somebody has given us mango smoothie, then that is not too much hard work now just to drink it. Because, okay, cutting, putting, chopping, putting it in the Nutri-Bullet, all that is hard work. But drinking is not hard at all. So Bhagavatam is Pibata Bhagavatam Rasa Amalayam. This ras, this liquid form, this nectar is already there for us just to drink it. Now this is the conclusion, that is the essence of Bhagavatam. That we take this Bhagavatam, enjoy the nectar, and then the essence is to then surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Not to get bogged down into what is the structure, where is this Loka mountain. That is not the essence of Bhagavatam. It is useful, it is secondary information. But if we leave this Bhagavatam only for scholars who have got an intellectual stimuli, then we risk losing the essence of Bhagavatam. And that's why even if you look at Bhagavad Gita, what does the Lord say in the Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita? Mata Prabha, how does that start? The first one, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Mata Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Buddha Bhava Samanvita. So the Lord says that I am the source of both spiritual and the material world. I am the source of both. So what else is there to research? The Lord is saying that. So that is the Lord. Now as devotees, as the jivas, what do? Our job is to then therefore, our purpose is therefore to save the Lord, because He is the source of both. And how do we save Him? That is our second Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita. Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayantascha Parasparam Katayantascha Mam Nitya Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So what do the devotees do? They discuss, they converse, they understand everything about the Lord, including His material potency, as well as His spiritual potency, as well as His loving reciprocation, everything. When we discuss all that, when we understand all that, then there is Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. There is happiness, there is bliss in that process. And when we do that endeavor, when we try to give our heart to the Lord, what does He do? He gives His heart to us, and that is called love. Because the love is centered on the heart, not on the head. No? We don't say, we have given you my head. A boy doesn't go to the girl and say, I have given you my head. We say, we have given you my heart, because that is love. So when we give our heart to Krishna, He gives His heart to us. And if it is required, what He does? Jnana Deepena Bhashvata. He turns on the light in the room whereby everything is enlightened, and with that enlightenment, our head gets cleared. So bhakti is the process with which our heart gets purified, and in the process our head also gets cleared if required. So yes, bhakti fixes both our heart and our head, but the essence is the heart. No, that's where Krishna resides. That's where we need to connect to the Lord. Head will get cleared, by default. That's why jnana and vairagya are the byproducts of bhakti. When we fall in love with Krishna, their jnana will automatically come, including the intelligence to understand that what is this 125 million yojanas between Mount Sumeru and Loka. At the moment, to me, I can't comprehend this. Like, it's beyond until the temple of Vedic planetarium opens and I can see it and visualize it, to me it's lot of words, which I can try to draw a picture, but little bit too far out. Essence is appreciation of the potency of the Lord. And that is why when we present knowledge, when we present this jnana, to the outside world and for our own selves, we have to be careful, because knowledge is of course beautiful and empowering, but at the same time, knowledge can also be blinding. Knowledge can be empowering, but knowledge can also be blinding. Too much knowledge in the wrong field can have unfavorable outcomes, such as 1, pride. What else? You want to participate? If you have got too much knowledge in the wrong field, with the wrong intent, with the wrong mindset, what could be some of the pitfalls? Pride can come in. You go in the wrong direction, yes. Knowledge in the ignorant direction, yeah, in a wrong direction. What else can happen?
Thinking that I am the supreme.
We think we are great. That can happen. So many things can happen, so many things can go wrong. We can lead somebody to the wrong direction. So on and so forth. For example, if somebody is endeavoring to climb Mount Himalaya, Mount Everest. They want to climb the Mount Everest, and that is their goal. Now, in climbing and getting to the top of the mountain, in climbing and trying to get to the top of the mountain, the issue is that once we get to suppose we want to climb Mount Everest and we get to the top. Once we get to the top, what could be some of the outcomes? We become proud that we are at the top of the mountain. We are waiting for people to glorify us that we have reached the top of the mountain, but we don't know whether somebody has even noticed that we have climbed or whether we have given up halfway through. Or even if somebody glorifies us that you are a champ, you scaled Mount Everest, how long will that glorification last? For some time, and they will get busy in their own life. They may just forget about it. So many things can be outcome of us climbing Mount Everest. But if we climb with the intent to seek prestige and reciprocation and glorification, then we may actually miss out the vital element of climbing the mountain, which is actually enjoying the breathtaking view that it has to offer. When we are at the top of the mountain, the view will be, I'm sure, spectacular, and we can enjoy that. But if we get distracted, then we lose the plot, we miss the boat. So similarly, when we read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, when we read Bhagavad Gita in our Vedic scriptures, if our intent is wrong, then we may become very scholarly, very pandita. But we miss the most spectacular aspiration, most particular aspect of Bhagavatam, which is the beautiful, breathtaking view that it gives us about the Lord and His devotees and about His material creation. Everything is just so beautiful. But if we can connect it to Krishna, then it becomes very beautiful. Otherwise, it can be actually dangerous. Bhagavatam is purifying for sure if we read it, but we have to read it with the right intent, with the proper guidance, so that we are not misled. When we give this, so then that is for us, how we should approach Bhagavatam. When we try to give this Bhagavatam, when we try to talk about Krishna consciousness to others, again we have got a lot of experience. We have got our book distributors here. Just so much experience there of people wholeheartedly taking it, and people grossly rejecting it. It's like, nah, I don't want it, I know everything. Why do I need this book? No, I don't need this book. So we face all that. And we also see a lot of times people are more attracted to those who recite Bhagavatam who may not even be devotees, professional reciters. There's so many videos on YouTube these days, of people talking about Vedic literatures, and my goodness, it gets so much of likes. But what they talk is completely rubbish. There was another word that almost came out of my mouth. But what they talk is completely rubbish. Somebody forwarded me one of the one of the videos by one very famous personality that is going around in India at the moment, with long beards. Generally, this kind of personalities who are bogus will have long hair or long beards. It's one of their symptoms. And he was speaking on this, and somebody asked me for my opinion of this person, and I said, well, let's listen to it together. So I was listening to it, and and one of the questions was asked about him is how to resolve conflict. What does Krishna say about how to resolve conflict? This was the question asked by the audience in this particular YouTube video. Yeah. And this personality, when he was responding, he said that I have not read, and he comes across as a famous guru in India at the moment. Yeah, I have not read Bhagavad Gita, but what I can tell you is what the Lord would have said about conflict resolution. And I almost honestly felt like smashing my phone against the wall. I was just so angry, with this statement. I have not read Bhagavad Gita, so I don't know about Krishna, but I can tell you what he may have said about conflict resolution. What a rascaldom of a statement, yeah? And they profess to be gurus, or sadgurus like that, big gurus. So completely nonsense, completely nonsense. And people get attracted, they get likes, people pay money to listen to them. But when we try to give it for free, they don't want it. Because anything free, people generally don't appreciate. Maybe we should start charging as well. Not that I'm saying it, but maybe they will get more attracted. So completely. So what is the essence? What's the point I'm trying to make? Yes, if we want to impress people, there is many ways to impress them. They will get fooled because they want to be cheated. But our mood is not to impress people. Our mood is to inspire people. Our mood is to inspire people in making their life a better thing, making their life more joyful, making their life more enjoyable in Krishna consciousness. That is the whole purpose of life. So we don't speak to impress, we speak to inspire. When the professional reciters are there who can be very impressive because they are trained in that. There's all colorful videos, they have got all charismatic, so much, those lights will be facing on them so they can, because if you take the light away, they will look very dull. So all those lights are there, like on movie actors, so much of halogen lights are on their face so they look beautiful. But when you see them outside that light, maybe even we will look more better than them at times. We'll say, okay, I don't look that too bad when I look at them in the ordinary picture. But so much of glamour is put on them so they look glamorous, but it's all artifact, it's all unreal, it's all superficial. It's all on the face only. Inside is all void. So people are void, people are distressed, people are losing hope, especially during the pandemic and all that. They need some light. And that is why it's so important to us to give them this Bhagavatam, to say this can change your life. Of course, if you give it to somebody new, we don't have to tell them that, by the way, this Loka mountain is 125 million yojanas from Mount Sumeru. We don't have to tell them. They will not come back to us. We have to tell them something beautiful that there is more attractive and something that they can implement in their life and have a ray of hope. To say, notwithstanding that everything is now topsy-turvy, people are losing job, people are dying, people are suffering, people are locked down, people need hope. So when we give this ray of Bhagavatam to them, that can bring them back to life. But professional reciters can impress them, we can inspire them. Should we impress them as well? Of course, yes. If we can impress them and inspire them, that is wonderful combination. Because if we present to them, our philosophy with dull face, as if, we are ourselves depressed, and I don't know what I'm saying, and it's boring, and it's not attractive, then nobody is going to listen to us. But we don't have, the point I'm making is, we don't have to, our focus is on inspiring them, not on impressing them. But if we can inspire and they get impressed, that is wonderful. That means we are a much more charismatic, ambassador of Krishna consciousness. So we have to do both. Now, 8:15. There's special days as well. Maybe I'll park this actually. No, I'll talk for 15 minutes. Today is the appear. I had some more things to say, but in the interest of time, I'll pause this there. Today is the two special occasions. Appearance day of Lord Vamandev and appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami. Let's talk about Vamandev first, and then we'll talk about Jiva Goswami. Very, very briefly. Yeah? Lord Vamandev, past time we know, appeared as a dove and then quickly grew. I can stand corrected here, but there are 3 incarnations that are mentioned in our scriptures, 3 avatars that have got a unique characteristic of appearing as small and quickly growing into size, very quickly. The other avatars like Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, they go through their normal, let's say, normal as in transcendently normal growth period. But these 3 incarnations that grow very rapidly. One of them is Varahadev, appears as the tip of the thumb from the nostril of Lord Brahma, and then very quickly he grows into thumb size, and then an elephant size, then into a mountain size, and then something bigger than the earth, and then lifts the earth very quickly, rapid growth. The other one is Matsya avatar, which comes like a small fish and then grows very quickly within no time. And the third one is this Vamandev avatar, which appears as a dwarf, very small at the beginning, and then quickly grows so big, not just only as big as the earth, but as big as the entire universe, and then just measured everything, in 2 steps. That's how big he grew. Is there a 4th one that you know of, or is there 3 only? Or there could be a 4th one? Any of you? Comes to mind? Probably 3 is enough for today. Yeah? There could be 4th one, but this is the 3 that I know, and could be just 3 as well. So it grows quickly in size. So what can we? There's so many things, of course, we can learn from Vamandev pastime, and we can meditate on this. He's none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But one aspect that struck me was the fact that he grows quickly in size. When in our life, we have problems, and we go and pray to the Lord to say, sometimes as devotees, most of the times we don't, but sometimes we do, to say, this is going on in my life. Can you please help me come out of this so I can step forward in my bhakti? So when the Lord is growing so quickly, what I think the thing that I liked was that to keep my bhakti steady, and focused, I can meditate on the fact that yes, I have my problems. Some of them are small, some of them are medium, some of them are big. I have my problems. But the Lord is much bigger than my problems. The Lord is much bigger than my problems, So rather than telling my problems, rather than going and telling the Lord how big my problems are, I can change it around by going and telling my problems how big the Lord is. So it's a mindset thing. If I minimize and trivialize my problems in presence of the Lord, make my problems dwarf. That's Vamandev. If I dwarf my problems in front of the Lord, then the problems becomes very small. For example, if I'm riding my bike, on a road and there is a tree fallen, let's say it's a small tree, not too big, like as thick as my arm or something, armrest. It's fallen on the road, blocking the road. If I'm riding on my bike, I have to stop. Because if the tree is there, there's a problem in my journey at the moment. If I don't stop, then I'll do a flip over with my bike and myself as well. I can seriously injure myself. I have to pause. Either I slowly go over the tree, or I bypass it or something. I have to do it. So there's a problem in front of me which looks bigger compared to my capacity. So I have to slow down. It's common sense. But now assume on the same road, if I was driving in my truck, big truck, and that tree is fallen over on the road, which is again the size of my arm. Now do I have to stop? I don't have to. The truck will just walk over the tree like with no problems at all. So the tree has not changed, the road has not changed, but my capacity has changed. Initially I was on the bike, now I am on the truck. On the bike I had to stop, otherwise I do a somersault. On the truck I don't have to worry about it, I'll just continue going. So if I tell the tree is the problem, but if I put the tree in front of the Lord now to say, my Lord, this is the problem, then the Lord will say, what are you even worried about? I will give you the momentum, the bhakti shakti, with which you can just fly over the tree. Don't worry about it at all. But otherwise we can just stand there and say, oh my God, there's a tree, I can't go over because my bicycle is too small. So trivialize our problem by dwarfing it in front of Vamandev, because Vamandev is very big, very huge. And just, pray to him that, oh Lord, give us the momentum with which I can cross over this obstruction that has come in my life at the moment. Please guide me. And then magic can happen, So like that we march forward. And it reminds me of Bhishma Dev's prayer in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam as well. When Bhishma Dev is lying on the bed of arrows, after the battle Kurukshetra is over, and then Yudhishthira Maharaj with all the Pandavas and Krishna and Vyasadeva and Narad Muni and Kunti Maharani come to him, Bhishma Dev makes this interesting statement to say, "O Pandavas, you have gone through so many of atrocities in your life at the hands of the Kauravas, so many trials and tribulations in your life you have gone through. I am wonderstruck how you are still alive. For them to go through all those issues, they are still alive was, just like for us, we could give up very easily, but Pandavas didn't. So how are you still alive?" That was a rhetorical question. And he answers it by saying, you have only been alive and managed to sustain all these issues that you have faced only because of three things. Vipra, Achyuta and Dharma. Vipra, Dharma and Achyuta. Vipra is the Brahmanas, the devotees, Prabhupada explains there. That it is only because of devotee association we can march forward and sustain all the pressure that gets built on us in terms of our material problems. The second one is the Dharma. No matter what happened in your life, you withheld the tenets of Dharma. You are, Yudhishthira Maharaj is Dharma avatar. Whatever you do is Dharma. So, because you were religious, you were devotees, you were pious, you were dharmic, you managed to withhold and sustain the pressure that got built on you. And the third one is Achyuta, Krishna. Because you had Krishna with you, you could sustain the pressure. So three things: Vipra, Dharma and Achyuta. Devotee association, religious principles, dharmic religious principles, and Krishna. If we have these three, then even if the tree fallen on the road is not a small tree but a big log, we can still cross over it. If we take shelter of these three: devotee association, religious principles and Krishna, problems will become small in our life and we will march forward. So Vaman Dev is big, the tree is small. Even if the tree can grow in size and our problems can grow in size, the Lord can grow in size for us. He can increase His capacity, He can increase our capacity as well. And we can march forward in Krishna consciousness. I've got 5 more minutes. I'll talk about Srila Jiva Goswami. Anybody wants to add anything to Vaman Dev? Or anything that comes to mind interesting? No? Trying to wake up still? Okay, that's fine. Trying to grow our consciousness, our waking up consciousness. So, Srila Jiva Goswami, appearance there of our esteemed Acharya in our parampara. Most of us know about Srila Jiva Goswami, and for that matter about the 6 Goswamis. What I just found, I'll read few things. Srila Jiva Goswami is the Vilas Manjari in the spiritual role. In Krishna and Srimati Radharani's pastime, he is the Vilas Manjari. Don't ask me what's Vilas Manjari, I don't know, but I found it in the book, that 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, so I read that. He's the Vilas Vilas Manjari, and is of course renowned for so many books that he has written. He's most prolific author in our books. And Prabhupada, he pretty much started book distribution in one sense. And Prabhupada followed the footsteps of our Acharyas, 6 Goswamis, in writing, reading, publishing, lecturing on the books. All comes, the genesis of all that is the 6 Goswamis. And Prabhupada followed that same mood. Satsandarbha and Gopal Champu. We have heard about this book. I have not read this book. It's on my list. But first I need to read Prabhupada's books. Still on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. But beautiful books there for those who want to read. And we know this Shri Radha Damodar temple. That's where Srila Jiva Goswami deities, Shri Radha Damodar, are at that temple. Most of us, I think, who are here, have been to Vrindavan, and we have seen this temple. We have seen the Shri Radha Damodar deities, which was carved by Srila Rupa Goswami and then given to Srila Jiva Goswami, who then worshipped those deities which are kept at Radha Damodar temple. And that is where Prabhupada resided in his days before leaving on the Jaladuta to America. So, and I read one, so we know that. So then I read this interesting article somewhere, and I hope this is true. To be honest, I couldn't verify the source of it, but looked authentic. In one of our repository of knowledge, it said that when Srila Prabhupada was at the Shri Radha Damodar temple meditating on his journey to US, to take that a journey, when he was contemplating and all that, and going and tossing and toing and froing, what to do, how it will become successful, etc., etc., etc. Then Srila Jiva Goswami appeared in his dream, manifested in front of him and said to Prabhupada that, don't worry, just go, because your spiritual master has said you go to the Americas and preach, go, and I can guarantee you it will be successful. So, what I think struck me is the fact that, yes, Prabhupada took that journey to America, and Prabhupada of course had, unlimited faith in his spiritual master and in Krishna to do it. But equally what Prabhupada also had is the empowerment and the blessings and the guarantees, of the acharyas before him to say this will be successful. And perhaps that is why when he is executing the order in the US, he is so confident in every step he is taking that yes, it will be successful, because he has already got the warranty, from his acharyas, from his Siksha and Diksha gurus and from the acharyas in the parampara, that it will be successful. Because if you look at Prabhupada's steps that he takes and try to put it in our life, at least when I try to put it in my life, I have to confess that I cannot be that confident, that this will work out. Even as simple as starting a preaching program online or it's like, will this Bhakti Vriksha be, at the moment I have started an online Bhakti Vriksha. This is my first experience with an online Bhakti Vriksha, because we can't go to people's house. Yes, I had 2 experiences of other Bhakti Vrikshas in person, so we know the tricks and the trade of the trade, how to play with them, to be nice with them, to make genuine friendships with them, to give them prasadam, exchange prasadam, all that people, this is the inspirational part that I was talking about. Our mood is to inspire people by genuine love, genuine compassion. So I had some experience. But when I'm doing this online Bhakti Vriksha, and this also incidentally happens to be my family, and we know that preaching to family is never easy. So I've got 30 or 40 people coming from my family and my relatives whom I'm preaching online, and this is going on for 2-3 months. So it's like, my Lord, what do? I can give them Bhagavad Gita philosophy, I give them Bhagavatam, but will they become devotees? Online, how will they become devotees? There is no prasadam. There is not that, vibrant kirtan as well. Because, online the kirtan, the mood doesn't really come up as it comes up in the temple room, when we just start jumping and dancing and all that. I've never seen anybody dancing on a Zoom kirtan. It's hard. It just doesn't come up, especially if it's a bad singer like me. What can I do? So how will they become devotees is the question, no? So my confidence that after this they will take to Krishna consciousness, I can't say it's as conviction as the conviction level is, of course, not that high as it would have been perhaps if I had some experience with the physical Bhakti Vriksha. So, but if Prabhupada was, physically there today, then if he had said, for example, yes, my dear devotee, go and do this, it will be successful, then my preaching will be completely different all of a sudden. Now, I know that Prabhupada has said it will be successful, so my conviction level will be at 100%. No matter what, it will be successful. So now just imagine this. Now, if some acharyas were to come in our dream and tell us, go and do it, Madhavananda, it will be successful, then we'll be bubbling with the conviction. So Prabhupada went through all that, the blessings and the empowerment by the acharyas, including Srila Jiva Goswami, to say, go ahead and it will be successful. So in my personal experience, I'm waiting for that day when I can also dream that Srila Jiva Goswami, unlikely, that he will come in my dream, but there is a likelihood that Prabhupada comes in the dream, and then says, go ahead and do this, it will be successful. That dream I will encrypt in my mind forever, Some of you may get dreams from Prabhupada, from Radha Krishna, from the devotees. If you have, some nice experiences, that's wonderful. If you want to share, go ahead. If not, then pray very fervently, that one day we, also get dreams of Acharyas blessing us that you will be successful. Then we can become much more convinced in the actions we take. Vamandeva parents ki, Srila Jiva Goswami ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna. You want to get anything, bro? Any comments, questions, corrections, realizations? Few minutes? Nothing? Nothing? This is how blank I was when I read this section of Bhagavatam. And that too, it was 7:30 yesterday. This thing that I was talking about, my online thing, it goes at 6:30. It starts at 5:30 p.m. on Fridays, and it goes for an hour. So I had a super duper busy day in the office yesterday. So I said 5:30 to 6:30 I will do that. Then 6:30 I will start, meditating on my Bhagavatam lecture. And by the Lord's grace, I think only to put me into more anxiety, that thing went for 2 hours because something very attractive started happening. I was doing quiz with them, So when you do quiz with people, newcomers, they like it. It becomes very interactive and jovial and laughter. So it dragged on for 2 hours. So it became 7:30. And I had few rounds left as well. So it kind of dragged on. And then when I read this at around 7:45, it was like, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So complete surrender on the Lord comes only during these times, yeah? During complete surrender. Oh my Lord, what do I say? So anyway, all glories to Hanuman Prabhu as well. He gave me some tips of what to say because I was quite blank, to be honest. He gave me some tips. So with his impetus and wisdom, I managed to say a few things as well. So I'll pack it here. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.